Offensively last year, we weren't great. We know that. But I look at it like the Rams because of this, Red. Did you know in 2016, it was Goff's first season. He didn't play every game that year, but his rookie season, you know that team scored 14 points a game, Red? Scored 14 points a game.
I did not. I mean, I don't think they had too many weapons besides Robert Woods.
They didn't even have Robert Woods yet.
That wasn't even Robert Woods wasn't even there?
No. They didn't have many weapons at all. So when I look at that, I look at what the Lions did. So I'm trying to look at maybe beyond just, okay, we need talent for this year and things like that. You try to see the full picture. And I think what we saw last year with the Lions, it was first off getting the financial situation, trying to figure that out. They're still working with that with the Collins contracts and the Trey Flowers. But I like how they took it on. They didn't push it out by making it a June 1st cut or supposed June 1st cut. I like how they just took it on to, like, let's deal with it. Let's not have to worry about it going forward. Of course, how they did last season, they didn't really bring in a lot of weapons. But this offseason, it was very similar to me. I get a lot of vibes of the same way that the Rams had their coming into 2017 offseason. Now, of course, they brought in Sean McVay because they got the new head coach in there. But the way that they approached it, and it wasn't like they went out and spent tons of money in free agency. Well, he's on a rookie deal, so you got tons of money to spend. They didn't do that. They didn't spend tons of money. They brought in 2 free agents. One was Robert Woods, as you brought up. The other one was Andrew Whitworth because they needed an offensive tackle. Now, that 2017, 35 years old when they signed him, right? 35 years old.
I know.
Jeez. But they needed that protection. Now tell me this, Red, like when you look at that Rams offensive line in 2017, because remember, the Rams went from scoring 14 points per game to the very first season with McVay, and we'll talk about the weapons in a second. They were first in the league in scoring just under 30 points a game. Their yards per carry jumped up by a full yard. All right, they were one of the best offensive teams in football. Their time of possession didn't change. They had a few less turnovers. Goff had 5 touchdowns to 7 picks in his first season. His second season, he had 28 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. The offensive line that they even put together with the Andrew Whitworth, they brought in John Sullivan to play center. You would have to argue that at very least the Lions' offensive line is as good as that offensive line was.
100%. That's also the year Todd Gurley came in, I believe, right? Or wrong?
No, Todd Gurley was there in 2016.
Okay, 2017.
He was still there, yeah.
He was still there, yeah. Okay,
I'm glad you brought that up. No, it's good because you'll see how the numbers start to take off, and because I think we always look at it and we talk about it like with Stafford, like how we didn't ever put a run game around him, and we're like, okay, well if we would have had a run game, we could have done this. But I'm looking at this and I'm saying, wait a minute, they added to their offensive line, which we already have our offensive line set. We didn't have to worry about that. We were able to do it with Sewell, which is great. But the way that they took off their run game was schematic, but it was also the pieces were there. They took it off with the pass game. So it was kind of like a backwards way. Red, here's their receiving core in 2016. I just have to throw these names out there because this is crazy. And I know people said we had the worst receiving core. Ours might have been better than this. I'm serious. They had Kenny Britt, Tavon Austin, Brian Quick, and Pharoah Cooper. Those were their top 4 receivers in 2016.
That's a terrible little squad.
Oh my goodness, come on, man. And Tavon Austin, he didn't do anything as a receiver.
And then, I mean, I want to jump to the 2017 receiving core wasn't that good either.
Now, but you're right.
I like Robert Woods. I'm not a fan of Sammy Watkins, and true. Tavon Austin's a dud.
Tavon Austin was a dud. Sammy Watkins, they made the trade for him after the draft. But I'm glad you brought it up because that 2017 offseason, when we look at those names, Sean McVay, his focus was get the weapons. So they signed one of their 2 big signings because they, like I said, they didn't go out and splurge and sign a whole bunch of guys. They had 1-year deals, a lot of them, which is what we have done. And their multiple-year deals were the weapon and was the offensive tackle. We got the O-line, so we're good there. We got the weapon in DJ Chark through free agency. They went out and got Robert Woods because they needed a receiver. Then they came back in the draft. They got Gerald Everett to play tight end. They got Cooper Kupp. They got Josh Reynolds. Then they went out and traded for Sammy Watkins after the draft. So their receiving core in 2017 was Kupp, Woods, Watkins, Tavon Austin, Josh Reynolds, and tight end now they had Tyler Higbee and Gerald Everett. So they completely just redid the weapons. Their O-line they upgraded because they finally got a left tackle, but we already have that. And the running game, still Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley in 2016 averaged 3.2 yards a carry. He had over 800 yards rushing. That's it. And he was the top pick. He was one of the top picks in the draft. Very next season, 1,300 yards rushing, 4.5 yards per carry. As the team, they go up a yard per carry rushing the football. And, of course, their pass game takes off. They're first in the league. But I'm seeing how they just went out and got weapons. And I'm thinking that's what Brad Holmes did. He said, we feel like we can win with Goff. Well, I think that's why he did what he did.
700 yards receiving that year, too.
He did. He was first on the team in receptions. I mean, like, that's what we brought up last year because it was like, okay, we got a lot of young guys at the receiver room.
I'm liking ours better. 100%. Because at that point, Cup wasn't Cup. Like, Cup was solid.
Nope.
Woods is good. Watkins is over. I think he's never panned out to be what it was. Hawkinson's better than Higbee. We don't know what Mitchell is yet. Everett's a solid tight end right now. Gurley is better than Swift at that point in time compared to Swift like right now. But I still like our offensive weapons better than the Rams at that point in time.
For sure. And I think, like, to what you just said, like, Cup wasn't the Cup, that we know now.
Yeah.
Cup, his rookie season, he had 62 receptions for 869 yards and 5 touchdowns. St. Brown, who I'm putting him, St. Brown, he had 90 receptions for 912 yards and 5 touchdowns last season. So he had better production. Jamison Williams is kind of like he's not like Robert Woods, but, you got that speed guy. You got the DJ Chark, for like the Sammy Watkins. So he's proven in the NFL. I mean, his last season was 2020. He had over 700 yards, which was more production than what Robert Woods put up. TJ Hockenson, you said it. He's better than Tyler Higbee. James Mitchell Everett, he's kind of been trying to find a landing spot ever since he's been with LA, and he was their second-round pick. And then you have Swift and Gurley, and Swift, you look at his numbers, his biggest thing is staying healthy, which is, in a weird way, kind of Gurley's big issue. But Gurley, like I say, he only averaged 3.2 yards a pop in 2016. He takes off in 2017 going forward. Maybe like Swift, who doesn't have crazy great stats in terms of yards per carry, but all of a sudden you start getting these weapons. Scheme has something to do with that too, for sure. We know now Ben Johnson's coming back, and you see how it takes off. And this one last thing, just to kind of tie it all together, I think when you look at like distance per pass, we always talk about, can he take the shots? Does it make sense to get the weapons? Things like that. Because people can golf throw the deep ball, things like that. Well, here's how I look. I look at it like this. You had the Rams in 2016, where Goff was averaging, let me get the exact number here, 4.3 adjusted yards per attempt. That was 31st in the NFL. Terrible. The very next season, 8.5 adjusted yards per attempt. That was second in the league. Now you look at the Lions last season. On the year, Goff was 6.6. After the bye week, he was 7.8, which was ninth in the National Football League. And the only difference was Taylor Decker and Josh Reynolds. And Ben Johnson calling plays offensively.
Right, offensively.
And St. Brown said that Ben Johnson was one of the best coaches he's ever had, and he's revamping his offense. He's doing it his way. But I'm just like, dude, when you look at the whole picture and how they did it, it's very similar how they did it. They're like, let's just go get weapons for the guy. They went 11-5. I think there's a reason to it. There's a reason people are betting on it. I get the personality of Campbell and stuff, but it's like they're not chasing, what would be cool and what would be like, oh, wow, they got the quarterback and this, that. They're like, let's just get the weapons to surround the guy.
They're doing it their way.
And then your guy, Brandon Cooks, the very next season, because they moved on from Sammy Watkins, it wasn't even that great for him. Boom, let's go get Brandon Cooks. Now I look at Jamison Williams. Again, he's not Brandon Cooks, but you see the speed. All the guys brought in are guys that take the top off.
Right.
Guy was 5'10". You always talk about height. He's 5'10", and he balls out with the LA Rams when that offense started going down. Because Goff was one of the top deep ball passers in football for a stretch there, and it started going back down. What happened? Well, the running game fell apart. But not only that, they didn't have Brandon Cooks anymore. They started to lose those weapons. So when you put it together, when you start putting it around, all of a sudden you see how the offense takes off. That's how I look at it, man. It's exciting. It really is. Shout out to the chat. Even you look at the Rams, it's like, okay, they struggled. They weren't rushing the ball that well. I think they were averaging 3.3 yards a carry in 2016, and they bumped it up by a entire yard. The Lions last season averaged 4.4 yards a pop, man. I mean, that's good. They was top 10 in the league, I believe. So they're already closer than what the Rams had to kind of try to turn around. And it's not like where McVay came in, new quarterback, had to kind of put everything together on the fly. Ben Johnson's already been here, so I think that's why it's so important that they brought him back, because he's already been in the offense. He's not trying to put pieces together. They're saying he's revamping it, doing it his way, but he's already been here, so they already understand what they have and what they needed to get. I think they're already a step ahead of where the Rams were. The question is, does our offensive coach, can he have success like Sean McVay? Probably not, because Sean McVay's really good at what he does.
He's a mastermind.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
I think Ben Johnson can make something twerk, though. I think we're gonna be okay, baby.
You think?
What?
I don't know. You think he makes something twerk, Brad? Okay.
100%. I mean, I seen what our offense was doing without the weapons that we have brought in. So now you get all these nice little pieces. We're gonna be gravy, bro. We got 2 receivers on the outside that can stretch the field, and we're getting back our tight end, and we still got St. Brown. O-line's about to be fully intact.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna have an off season to build that camaraderie, get in sync with each other. We gonna, man, look. I'm gonna just wait till we get closer to the season because the excitement, and I just know what's really about to shake. Barring no injuries, I mean, we're gonna have injuries here and there, but I feel like we are a deeper team.
Yeah.
We're gonna get to these 10 wins, and you know what? We're gonna break down how we about to at least get to these 10 wins.
Because the reason I looked into this is because I wanted to see the defense of the Rams. Because I was thinking, well, maybe the defense took off. The Rams' defense actually wasn't even bad in 2016. Their time of possession, it's not like their time of possession took off in 2017. So it was really just simply as putting weapons around the guy. Our defense, we'll have to see, because they were in a better spot defensively than where we were last season.
Yeah,
but I know a lot of us have confidence in that. And the Lions hit it kind of hard. You know, they were like, all right, we're going to fix this.